it for the pleasure.
Hello, and welcome to the Loose Boho Reviews. I'm your host, Smokey, and joining with me, as always, is my co-host, Pooge.
Hello.
And before we get into the review proper, as always, I have to give the 3 rules of the rating system. The first rule is, it must be a fraction of 5. 1 means we hate it, 5 means we love it. Rule number 2, if we want our money back, we give it a good old Jeff Goldblum. Rule number 3, if we all agree that's doing the review, that it deserves a 6 out of 5, a God tier, then it will get a God tier. And today, we are reviewing from 1996, The Ghost and the Darkness, which is apparently a historical adventure film. If
Quote unquote historical.
the very loose, like they're playing very loose with that historical mark right there.
For sure.
But before we get into the plot, movies, you just don't come up with a movie. You gotta first, you gotta write the movie. So we're gonna, and you gotta film the movie as well. And we're gonna go over that a little bit. And to start it off, this movie was kind of in a production hell, actually.
You don't say.
Yeah. I mean, both before they started filming and apparently while they were filming, it was like an actual hellscape that I will get into a little bit more detail. But this started when a William Goldman was traveling around Africa in 1984. He first heard the story and he thought it was going to be a good script. It took him until 1989, 5 years later, to pitch it to Paramount. He said it was going to be a cross between Lawrence of Arabia and Jaws. And they commissioned him to write the screenplay, which he delivered a year later, in 1990. He stated that Goldman believed, he had a feeling that the Lions were evil, and he believed that for 9 months, evil popped out of the ground in Savo. I do not believe this original screenplay was able to... I don't think this is what we saw, though. Because the script does fictionalize the events of the Savo man-eater incidents. But it also introduced a fictional character, a big game hunter called Charles Remington, that is played by a Michael Douglas. Though I believe the character was I'm reading this wrong. The character was based on an Anglo Indian big game hunter, Charles H. Ryall. Ryall. Superintendent of the Railway Police. In the original drafts, the character was called Redbeard, and Goldman says his purpose in the story was to create an imposing character who would be killed by the lions and make Patterson seem more brave. Goldman says his ideal casting for the role would have been Burt Lancaster, which I gotta say, Burt Lancaster, if he's talking about being a Charles Remington, is a bad take. He should have actually been casting Burt Lancaster as Patterson himself, because Burt Lancaster looks heavily like Patterson.
What would have got like Clint Eastwood or something for like the big game hunter, American dude.
But speaking of the role of Patterson, Goldman was originally thinking of Kevin Costner. No. I fucking reading this wrong again. My bad. According to Goldman, Kevin Costner expressed interest in playing Patterson, but Paramount wanted Tom Cruise, who ultimately declined.
Ew.
That should have been the first. That should have been the first sign that this was not going to bode well. If Tom Cruise is like, nah, I'm good. You know, because he'll do fucking anything. He won't even think about it.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. That's bad.
And apparently, this slowed work on the film until Michael Douglas moved his producing unit with partner Steve Rearther, Constellation Films, to Paramount. Douglas read the script and loved it, calling it an incredible thriller about events that actually took place. Douglas decided to produce, and Stephen Hopkins was hired to direct.
Maybe that's why he has so much charisma in like the first kind of like half of his part in the movie, but then it kind of slowly wanes as maybe he's like, oh, I put so much money into this.
Maybe, but there's in the early drafts of the script, Remington, Michael Douglas's character, was supposed to be originally going to be an enigmatic figure, but when Douglas chose to play him, character's role was expanded and was given a history. And in Goldman's book, Which Lie Did I Tell?, the screenwriter argues that Douglas's decision ruined the mystery of the character, making him a wimp and a loser. So that so his additions was not welcomed at all.
Which, I mean, his additions were at worst neutral.
Which, of course, the part of Remington was originally offered to Sean Connery and Anthony Hopkins, but both declined. The producers
Sean Connery. I guess since Michael Douglas brought the whole like backstory of that character, I guess maybe he was supposed to be like more of like a English. I could see like Sean Connery being like what the dude is actually based off of the big game hunter Whiteman.
I'm assuming this was before the additions of Douglas didn't make the additions until he took over the role.
Yeah.
And this was before Sean Connery and Anthony Hopkins was originally offered it, but since they declined, the producers
would have been easier to watch with either of them too.
I can't pronounce the Gerard Depardieu. Yeah, Gerard Depardieu. They were. Thank God for last podcast on the left. But yeah, when that's when Douglas decided to play the role himself, and Stephen Hopkins was not happy with this at all. So, yeah, and of course Val Kilmer, who just made Batman Forever, and was a frequent visitor to Africa, then expressed enthusiasm for the script, which enabled the project to be financed. And that's how we got.
Yeah, you have to have him.
So this literally comes about from Michael Douglas and Val Kilmer reading the script and going, kind of want to do this. This is what I
want to do this. I'm in Africa all the time.
It wasn't like they weren't contractually obligated to do this or anything. They 100% chose to do this.
And then financed it so they couldn't say no.
Yeah. That's why their acting starts getting so poor. It's like You can't fire them. They're fucking the one financing the
They're
goddamn
just
film.
they're just larping it. We're just watching them larp.
Um, the film was short mainly on location, of course, on the God damn it, Songamovola Vola Game Reserve in South Africa. Excuse me for butchering that name. Rather than Kenya, due to tax laws. Many fuck, is it Masia? Characters in the film were portrayed by South African actors, although
Mhm.
they did use actual real warriors that in the
Mhm.
movie as well. That they.
Yeah, that was kind of based on because what actually happened was there's a big game hunter called Whiteman who like came in to help Patterson, when it actually happened, and he actually brought a tribe of of basically a tribe called the Akessa who is like in their religion is hunting lions.
All right, and director Stephen Hopkins later said of the shoot, they had snake bites, scorpion bites, tick bite fever, people getting hit by lightning, floods, torrential rains, and lightning storms, hippo chasing people through water, cars getting swept into the water, and several deaths of crew members, including 2 drownings. Val came to the set under the worst conditions imaginable. He was completely exhausted from doing the island of Dr. Morari. He was dealing with the unfavorable publicity from that set. He was going through a divorce. He barely had time to get his teeth into the role before we started, and he is in nearly every scene in this movie. But I worked him 6 or 7 days a week for 4 months under really adverse conditions, and he really came through. He had a passion for this film, and it does not fucking translate at all to his
Yeah, I feel
performance.
like yeah, I feel like with all that weighing down on you, you should be a pretty good like grizzled hunter dude. But
No, he just there's no emotion whatsoever. It's like he's detached from the world. Like he doesn't want to be at on this. He doesn't want to be here. He's questioning himself why he's here. And after listening to that, the fact that this was like the most horrific shooting of a movie that we've seen, like there were several deaths of crew members of this.
oh yeah,
So
that's why a lot of times you just like, we're just gonna shoot in New Mexico.
I mean it's but yeah, it's fucking just terrible. I would not want to be on this either. So I'm I'm still holding it against Val Kilmer. He's the one that chose to be here. This was completely. It's not like he was contractually obligated to be put in these circumstances. He was put in these circumstances, and he totally could have been like, "I'm pulling my funding. Fuck all this. I'm out."
This isn't worth it. This isn't worth deaths.
But no, he chose to fight through. But good on him. But the final product that we got was not worth it. Definitely not worth it. But I'm jumping ahead of myself. Let me talk about the lions that we get. While the man-eaters were, like all lions in Savo region, a more aggressive, maneless variety, those used for filming were actually the least aggressive available for both safety and aesthetic reasons. Of course. Of course.
Oh yeah.
Paramount's cinematic lions were 2 male African lions with manes. They were brothers named Caesar and Banjo or Bango. I don't know.
Bango.
I think it's Bango. Who who were residents of the Bowmanville Zoo in Clarington, Ontario, Canada. Bango was
Oh,
actually featured in George of the Jungle. The cinematic production was also featured three other lions, two from France, one from the U.S.
oh.
So yeah, they had to use a total of 5 lions on this.
That's funny that they had to fly the lions in from out of Africa into Africa.
But yeah, that's the pre-production stuff. After all that, they went into the editing process and they shut out the film. And this is, I guess, where you take over, cause my plot synopsis. Can I give my plot synopsis before you go into it? Because
Oh yeah, I
I
think
think
we'll
mine.
give your props though.
All right, my plot synopsis is that this movie is some lions fuck some humans up, and then the humans get upset, of course, and they fuck the lions up. Hooray! The day is saved.
Hmm.
That's it. that's
Hmm.
that's basically the movie.
Oh yeah. This movie fails to really like express or not express or trying to think of
Portray.
what portray. Thank you. Portray the actual events that it's based off of, which
It
would have been
doesn't.
made a
It
way better movie.
that I 100% agree with you too. I know they kind of hint it towards the real events a little bit. We kind of got a thorn wall in this.
Yeah, we got the
And,
thorn wall, but they don't utilize it because that thorn wall kind of kind
yeah, they show
of
them
just
building
adds
it,
to the
but
horror.
they show them building it, but that's all they do. They don't show
Hmm.
they like actually
They didn't even
doing
have the second
anything.
camp. There's supposed to be everything kind of starts at the first camp, and then they split off and make another camp closer to the bridge, and then things
They
get even
kind of
worse at
made
that
it
camp because
seem
there's
like
less
it was
people.
just one big camp. Like it was just one big, like the first camp went stretched all the way to the bridge. That's what they made it look like.
Yeah, which is not there's a big camp that was far away from the bridge. They always had to go and do a full walk to the bridge, but then they made the another like walled camp after to get closer,
Yeah.
and try to get production because like it just went to a halt because like Patterson was just like dealing with like hunting these lions that were just impossible to catch,
I
and we're basically just
mean
trolling them the whole time.
it it seemed like they were very familiar with dealing with humans. Like it.
Oh yes, very much. Seemed like I mean it's but from the Bob Gimlin video I watched for some research on this that he makes some interesting points about how like how it's a little like because like how people kind of like uh downplay like the lions eating people, which it happens a little bit more often than even what we have on record, for each year of like deaths, because it happens in a lot of areas where people aren't going to report things,
Yeah,
officially.
and I'm going to assume there's also those miscellaneous ones that are people that wander off that don't tell anybody
Hmm.
where they're going or anything. They don't, for some
And
odd reason, they decide not to go with any equipment besides a backpack and a couple of nutrient
yeah,
bars and a bottle of
and they
water, and they're
found
like,
that
"Oh, I'm just going
one of
on a
the
hike."
yeah, and it's usually like, and what makes this one a little stand out a little bit more because usually it is common like, oh, you're by yourself and you get hunted by a lion. That's pretty normal, like you get caught on your own. But they were like charging into camp like with thousands of people around is what made it, made them a little bit more. But it's just they adapted because the area was very. I mean, I think it was it was described very well when Patterson was taking the train into the area. Like he was going through all like the brush green life and everything, but then all of a sudden, like the ground just gets totally red, and then all the trees are just all dead. It's just
Mm.
barren, you know. So there's probably not a lot of like big game around there. So
Since,
I bet these.
since we keep
Mhm.
on bringing up, I want to point out there was an actor, Brian McCarty. He played Angus
Mhm.
Starling. He should have
Mhm.
been Patterson instead of Val Kilmer. He
Oh
totally
yeah,
should have
he,
been.
he was a way better actor too. He
The
would have.
way
I mean, he
way
had the
better
accent.
act. He had the accent. He fucking, even though he is Scottish, but still,
Mhm.
it's a better fucking accent than Val Kilmer gave us. Val Kilmer's
Yeah.
accent, it there was like 3 or 4 lines that it is like, okay, he practiced the shit out of those lines, and
Mhm.
he was able to get kind of an accent out, but for the rest of the
Yeah.
time it was like, nah, man, where's Starling? Where the fuck is Starling?
Yeah.
Get the fuck
And
Starling
I'd
out
trust
here.
and I'd trust like a Scottish person to do a better Irish accent. Like usually UK people can pull that off better, because they live around each other. Just
He
like
just had,
how an American can do like a Southern American accent better.
yeah, I mean, for some reason, he just seems to have adjusted to the conditions of filming better than Val Kilmer. Because Val Kilmer, it is
Hmm.
painfully obvious that he doesn't want to be here. And Michael Douglas, it's it's painfully obvious that at first he wanted to be there, but then it set in. It
Yeah,
set the
the
fuck
devil
in.
said, and probably after the deaths.
It's just like, hey, this wasn't what I wanted. Speaking of which, the budget of this was 55 million, and it only made 75 million in the box office. So
Damn, I guess
it really was
definitely
not
dead. I
worth
guess at
it.
least it wasn't like completely in the negative.
I mean, they made their money back. That's I guess the most positive you can say, but still
Yeah.
that ain't saying
I
much
wonder
when
how
just,
much of that money was just like going to like having to like deal with all the deaths.
yeah, there was a good portion of that just insurance. A lot of that went to insurance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna rattle off the rest of the cast that's on the Wikipedia here. John Caney was Samuel. Bernard Hill played David Hawthorne. Tom Wilkinson played Sir Robert fuck Beaumont. Beaumont. Emily Mortimer was Helena Patterson. Om Puri played Abdullah. And
Abdullah, yes. I
and
liked him in this film.
and Henry Silly played I can't. He's the dude that was like, I killed a lion one time with my bare hands. That dude.
Yes.
The
Yeah, he
technically
kind of took the
the
place of the
first.
Sikh that was supposed to be killed.
Yes, he was
Yeah.
the first victim of the movie.
Mhm. Yes.
Which of
It was
course,
supposed to be the second victim.
oh, that's so bad. But yeah,
Supposed to be the second victim.
that's I'm pretty much that's all my facts, pretty much.
Hmm. And so I'll go into some facts about the actual thing because I think it'll play into what we could have got that would have been better. There are a lot of things that were. I'm going to talk about like some scenes that I think in the movie that they were trying to call back to in the actual events, but I'll be going over all the events that why the hell didn't they add this to the film because it would have made it really stand
Yeah,
out.
those are what I'm interested. There's one event that you kind of already spoiled for me that I was like, oh, my reaction to that would have been better if it was natural. But hey, I'm gonna do my best.
Well, with the the first on-screen kill is pretty much kind of how the second kill went. Though the victim was a Sikh man named Singh. Uh, I the only kind of similarities between the two characters is how they die in the movie. The dude says he like killed a lion with his bare hands, and Sikh had a reputation of being tough, so like thieves wouldn't fuck with him.
Oh, fuck yeah, that's what's cool. Yeah, boy.
But he was sleeping in his tent, and everybody just saw him get dragged out screaming,
Oh,
and
that's
he was just dragged
unfortunate.
out into the night.
That's so unfortunate. Oh man.
And that was when, because the first death they had, they didn't have as much evidence, and the the person, I mean, they weren't really eaten, you know, so they thought it was just like, oh no, wait, no, they were totally, they couldn't find the body, then they disappeared, so they assumed, because a lot of people would wear like their fortune on them, like their rings and like gold rings and bracelets and stuff. So thievery was kind of an issue in the camp because you could just like all the dude's fortune is just like he's wearing, so it's easy to take. So they're investigating as murders before, but then after the second incident, they saw the paw prints all around. They knew they had a man-eater problem.
They didn't see the lions actually physically dragging this man?
Oh,
Like that?
because well, people were screaming that it was the devils, So people were the people who saw it were kind of in a panic, but they saw the paw print, so they confirmed that it was definitely lions. Which this camp already had a reputation. And that's when Patterson started talking to people more and learned about these devils that everybody had been screaming about, because there had been more deaths in the past from these. It just wasn't really known. It was more talked about by the workers as a rumor.
Now, I got it. This was my theory in the movie that would start it. Could this have been a series of multiple lions attacking this? Like, could this have just been like a particular hunting ground for lions, and it wasn't actually just the two lions the whole time attacking everybody?
I think what
Is that
because
possible?
the attacks do stop after he kills the two of them. Um, yeah, I mean, it could have been even from the start. Maybe like maybe like the other ones kind of like went away, and these ones just were the only ones that remained, and were trying to like pick up a
Yeah.
little bit more than they could chew,
Now they
gambling a
probably
little bit more.
weren't, but if the alphas of a pride are taken out, does the pride leave that territory, or does another alpha just claim that territory? Is that how that works?
Uh,
Like, what's the territorial like situation go on there? Because like, if they were considered the alphas of the pride and they were taken out, and the pride like fucks off
usually
after that.
dominant females would usually just take over because usually a bunch of females within that. I think what makes us why I believe that this is just two lions is the fact that it's two males together, and usually males stick together when they're in a duo. They'll usually break up if there's and they'll fight for like a harem. There's a harem involved for like a full pride.
Okay, okay. Because I was just
These are
curious.
probably two brothers or two lions that became friends when they got kicked out of their prides.
Because it's in the movie at least. There's definitely more than one lion. There's more than just the two because they kill one.
Yeah, yeah, and in the actual events, the death lower when the second one finally dies. There's like a 10-day like of total peace
And this
too.
they in the movie in the Ghost in the Darkness they kill three lions. Remember
Oh
they
yeah, the first one. Yeah,
yeah,
they
they
kill the
bring it
first one. I think
in,
that one was
and
supposed to be
that's why I was assuming that it was a pride situation, like a pride
mhm.
retaliation
Which
situation.
yeah, which because that doesn't happen actually. They don't. There's only two lines that they ever kill or ever find in this one because that's why before I watched this I was like, oh yeah, I think I kind of remembered that, but actually I remembered that from the uh, the man-eaters of Njombe, which wouldn't happen until 70 years later in Tanzania, I believe.
Yeah, I
Um,
maybe the man not the man eater. Maybe Goldman borrowed that from that little incident. Like maybe he was merging the two
mhm.
incidences here.
Yeah, because in the Njombe incident, there was a bunch of lions that were innocent that got killed. You know,
Mm.
that weren't involved with the man-eating.
Oh, that's a shame. That
Yeah,
is a
but with this
shame.
one, there wasn't. There's only these two. Because in this part of Savo, it seemed pretty barren. So
Okay.
this probably spoke to the desperation of like why lions were just hunting, people. Also, one of them had a tooth infection, so it made it harder for could possibly make it harder for them to process like chewing like tougher hides, and why people would be easier. Because from how a lot of kills are, they never eat like a large portion of a person. They only eat like little bits. They're real picky with what they eat on people.
Mm.
I don't think that I think that kind of speaks to why humans aren't always usually the number one type of meal, because probably just because we're kind of a shitty meal, almost not worth it.
That
especially
seems to
like
usually be the
when,
case.
especially with the threat of us just like, oh, we're just gonna hunt like every lion in the area now. Not worth those fucking stringy pieces of shit over there. But but yeah, we'll go into some of the incidents here. Ones that I mean, we had the third kill. Third kill like happened when like after the Sikh got dragged out of his tent, but it was like during the early part of the like night just starting, and because Patterson and the boy, who he calls his they call them coolies. I think it's they're the Indian guys that are there. But this kid seemed to be more in a servant class, and he had a name which I couldn't find the actual name because and Gimlin didn't say it in the video, but he just said that it
that
was a name that had negative connotations.
the
And
that it's pretty
Patterson,
bad if it's scrubbed from history.
yeah, it had negative connotations, and so Patterson didn't want to call him that, so he just called him boy, because he respected him. And this boy he's pretty. He was there with most of the hunts. Like
Oh, it was
he was
like
right there beside
fucking it
Patterson.
was God of War. It was
Hmm.
fucking your
Boy,
boy.
exactly, yeah. Except this boy was less whiny, and had because Patterson described him as having great work ethic, uh, being really cunning and like really good with like picking up different languages. Which there's a bunch of different languages because we had like Indians, you had like different Africans, like of course, and people from different parts of India, so there's
Yeah.
different languages in there, above the English. So and also he had a great knack of picking up skills and had great humor and was like the only person that didn't annoy him.
Hey, sometimes that's all you got to do to get in with the boss is not annoy
Yeah,
him, and then
yeah, just
just laugh at
carrying all his shit.
just laugh at their jokes, and every so often crack a, even though it's not your sense of humor, you gotta crack a tasteless joke here and there. Bosses love that shit.
and and I think in a weird way, like uh I mean, only in just like being like in the placement of how he was in some of the hunts, like Angus was almost kind of like the movie's version of the boy. Not quite.
I would see that in a way, yeah, maybe, but he was kind of a bumbling
But the boy doesn't
fool.
die.
Yeah, they fucking kill fucking, which
They
is
kill
just bad.
kill
Just
Angus, yeah.
they kill. You know what? They kill Patterson. The
They
Val
kill
Kilmer's
Patterson.
not.
They kill the real Patterson.
It's like what
See,
the fuck.
Patterson came in and he had Val Kilmer pretend to be him as a way to trick the Lions, but it failed. That's my take from the movie.
And then fucking Michael Douglas just shows up out of goddamn nowhere, just like tripping on shrooms, having like what the fuck. Just stumbles into the movie. It's like,
But oh yeah, this third kill, yeah, he was with the boy waiting, looking around to hunt the lions, but then they heard from camp a bunch of screaming. They just ran towards the camp, missed it just last minute as the lions dragged someone away.
Mm. And this is the real event, by the way. I just want to
Yeah,
clarify.
the real event.
Yeah.
But nothing will get the blood curdling. No, nothing will get the goosebumps fucking rising on you than this next kill. When I wish I wrote down this guy's name. He was like a Greek dude. He had like the most badass name. It was really long though too. But it was he sounded like he was like a fucking like Roman like some Roman philosopher.
Hell
But
yeah.
he was just taking a nap on his mattress at night, trying to get some sleep with like not trying to think about the lions when one of the lions burst into his tent and totally flip him off his mattress, but leave him and drag the mattress out
Yeah, boy.
up
Yeah,
up
fucking
into
boy.
the what they call, what was it? I actually had the name here for the type of thorn walls that they made around the camps. The Bomo? Yeah, the Bomo.
Oh
But
my god.
but the lion was frustratingly couldn't get the mattress through the Bomo thorns. So it just like ripped the mattress apart and had to abandon it.
If he couldn't have the mattress, nobody was having the fucking mattress. Oh, that's a cat for you. They
That's a
let
cat.
let's just face it. Unfortunately, these were just two house cats they weren't feeding. Ah, shit.
Hmm. Oh yeah, that's the thing. We could always easily think of man-eaters as like some type of like monsters, but at the end of the day, these are just little animals. This is a cat. It's a cat at the end of the day. No different than your cat. Your cat would be dangerous if it was the size of a lion.
it. I mean, they're dangerous now. You can't leave them. You can't really trust them. You know, if they get completely hungry, they have a they would they would they would eat you.
They would eat you.
And,
The next incident is pretty comedic too, in which would have been this would have been a cool thing to see on screen. Uh, when it was I think it was an Arabian dude. Uh, he was a merchant who like would sell to them. Was taking his donkey down the trail alone, and one of the lions tried to pounce for him, but missed and got stuck on the reins of the donkey's, the rope that was it got like tied around its ankle somehow, and then ran off and just dragged the donkey away into the grass, never to be seen again. And like the lion seemed really distressed too, because it seemed like the lion was thinking the donkey was chasing it, but it was just like dragging it.
this is such a oh these are this is just cats, man. It's just fucking cats.
I like also later. This is like three cute incidents in a row. Now we're getting to the third cute incident in a row, where one of the lions went straight into the camp in the day, like causing a panic, and like went and grabbed a bag of rice, and left like a mile trail that they followed, just like a mile trail of like rice, and then they could actually hear the lions like growling in anger when it seemed like they found that the rice wasn't really a meal.
No, they weren't growling because the rice wasn't a meal. They were growling because their fucking new owners weren't playing with them.
This ain't
Come
this ain't
on.
kitty kibble. But then Patterson actually he didn't he you know despite he was more frustrated at this point with the lines, and he wasn't really scared of them until there's an incident where he was hearing some noises outside where he thought it was some maybe some of the workers like rummaging through the garbage for stuff, which is I guess was a common thing. Um, and yelled out and looked around and couldn't see anything. But then when he the next day when he came out of his cabin, he noticed that his cabin was just like surrounded by a bunch of just lion tracks, like the two sets of lion tracks that were just like stalking him around, like probably like watching him.
Oh,
They're definitely
damn.
aware that he had been hunting them for a while. and and to the point where he moved his living space to the clinic, which was actually like a wall within a wall. There was like two sets of the Bomo bush walls. So he's starting to get a little shaky in the boots. But at this point, it was like a bunch of nights, bunch of failed hunts. The lions are taking about one person a night. Like it was pretty just common. Like every night you'd hear like a scream. They'd run over, get there too late, then someone would be gone. And also at this point, the lions used to like take their kills like miles off, but now they were just starting to eat them close enough proximity of the walls that you could hear, like the people in the tents could hear people just being eaten alive outside the
Hmm.
walls.
Oh, good lord.
Adding to the fucking mental games these fucking cats play.
I don't even think that they were just getting more comfortable. Is
Oh
that
yeah, definitely
that
getting more comfortable. But you can see how people are like seeing these things as devils, and like oh fuck, they're getting into mines.
yeah, but
They're
they're
getting
not
into mines.
even. Unfortunately, these cats aren't even. It's clear that they're just taking the opportunity of the free meals that's just
Mhm.
laying on the
I think
ground. You
what
know.
makes it scary too is like all those cute incidents too just shows like how fearless they are. There's like walking into camp, like grabbing bags of rice. There's another incident where one was just like staring at someone, like I guess for a while, like right behind them, just like standing there, not even in like a about to pounce pose. And, like the dude like freaked out and like fell over the table and just ran away. They're getting real
uh,
comfortable with the camp, that's for sure.
oh yeah, that's obvious that they're
The Bomos ain't doing shit too. They're just jumping right over them. And
it,
Patterson even tried like when he designed the Bomos, he put little weak spots where it'd be easy for them to jump over, and that's where he would usually camp out and with his gun, like oh they're gonna jump over that, but they'd hit the most fortified areas, like the hardest places where you think they wouldn't be able to get to. That's where they jump.
hey, practice makes perfect.
Hmm. I think it's kind of cool. Kind of speaks to like an intelligence. I think you could see as like a predator. You could see like the most protected area is probably where they're gonna keep all the goodies, right? You know,
Yeah, so they going
that's
for
where you want to
them.
hit.
Yeah,
Mm.
that's you gotta go for that area. Can't go for the area that they're guarding. Why would they be guarding that area? They're looking for me.
But when we don't get our next significant kill to a little bit, which is after a couple nights, this is like a whole thing though. One, this is would have been a cool fucking like Jason style fucking kill. Is someone not only gets dragged, they don't get dragged out of their tent, they get dragged with their tent like inside their tent with the tent still around them,
Holy shit.
like with yeah, and and the uh the workers actually showed a very rare feat of of bravery, and they surrounded all of them surrounded the lion with torches and pans, with everything they had, and a couple guns they had too. They were trying to take pot shots, but the lion dragged him over the Bomo with the tent
I
and dragged him out to the night.
did, but that might have been accidental. Actually, that the lion could have just might have been just running through the camp and got tangled into the. It could have been
Oh,
another donkey situation.
It had it in its jaws. It dragged it with its mouth.
Oh, okay.
Up the
okay.
wall.
Yeah. That okay. That I was about to say that then it
with the guy in the tent in its mouth, which must be the worst thing. Just like being like smothered in a tent, like you have like jaws piercing through.
Again, I'm still wondering if that was intentional or if it was another mattress situation where the cat was.
Could have been another mattress situation.
Was like, hey, let me get this cloth because like a towel or a blanket because I've seen cats they will go. Some cats will go out of their way to fucking drag a blanket down a goddamn corridor that they can't.
You got a bonus. Got a little prize inside. Oh, and this is one thing. Here's another thing that I get I'm really mad they didn't show in the movie. This is a really interesting design that they did of a trap, because they had an incident where they're noticing there's a couple of incidents where the lions were attacking carts. They were all attracted to the carts that were going up and down with like the goats attached to them too. So they actually made themselves basically this like. It looks like a coffin, but it's on like on two wheels like a wagon, and inside sits Patterson and another dude. I can't remember if that was I can't remember who the other guy was. It was Brock something. I don't know. He was only mentioned very briefly, but they're both scrunched up in this little coffin like bunker thing, which had like the front part like a little bunker window where they could poke the rifles out. And they had the goats in front of them. They're just sitting there waiting in that little wagon, waiting for the lions to go for the goats. But
did it come? Did they? Was that any successful? Was that success? Did that have any success whatsoever?
Nope. Unfortunately, to what Patterson said in hindsight, he believes they fired too soon, that they should have waited. But straight as they saw a shadow pounce for the goats, they fired. And they were very disoriented because being inside that little bunker, like two of those like rifle shots just totally like shell shocked them.
Okay, so there was an actual like because they did that they did that in the movie. They kind of did.
No, they do something similar to this different because there's a different trap that you're thinking of. That's the box trap.
Okay.
Which is something they try later. This one is like straight out just in the grass, and they're just in this little wagon thing with these two goats that are just tied in front of them in the wilderness.
They kind of do that. They kind of do that with the donkey, but they kill that lion. In the very first, that's how they attract the first lion. Is with the donkey just standing out there.
Were they in like a coffin thing?
I don't think it was in a coffin. No, it wasn't it was a live donkey. It had bells on it.
No, I mean like the
goats were in a coffin.
The goats weren't in the coffin. The guys were in the coffin. They were scrunched up in this little coffin like
yeah, no, they were in a tree. The guys were Val Kilmer and Angus were in a tree. They weren't in no coffin. No.
Yeah.
Okay.
This coffin looked cool. I wish there's a cool picture of it in the Gimlin video. It looked.
They should have did that in the movie.
But yeah, they shot, they missed. And then they found like not only did that lion get away, it dragged away a goat, and they found that there was another goat that they didn't even notice got dragged away, I guess by the other lion, and that's where that's where Patterson starts referring to them as ghosts.
Oof. Well, shit.
Then let's see. I'm gonna skip some of these. Yeah, the lions also are progressively like before they were being super stealthy, roaring and announcing themselves when they're coming in. They're
Your
being
aud-
they're getting
your
real real rowdy.
your audio changed, by the way.
Oh, sorry, my headphones. The thing.
Okay, there you go.
Headphones are doing the thing. There we go. Patterson's getting more scared about it. But they bring in Whitehead, who's basically the real Remington. He's like a big game South African hunter, and he brings in
Which Remington was
the
not.
tribe, which they don't ever mention where the tribe really comes in handy.
Oh well, and also I just want to say Remington in the movie was not actually inspired by that guy. He was inspired by
Yeah,
a completely
he was
different
inspired by
person
an even different dude who also
that
wasn't
was
really involved.
no, he was not involved whatsoever. But this was not an accurate interpretation of the events. This was more of an amalgamation of different man-eater events pulled
Mhm.
into one to
Which
make a very terrible movie.
Whitehead was a fucking badass because like it was right as he arrived, and it was during the day, right as he arrived into the camp to be like, oh yeah, not even before he meets Patterson, one of the lions comes up and like scratches his chest. He gets attacked and then runs off because that's what he came up to Patterson and he was like, oh, quite a welcoming committee you brought me, Patterson.
So he
And
had a
Patterson thought he was
chance.
bullshitting until he showed him the slice on his fucking chest.
So he totally like had a chance to shoot and kill the lions, but he didn't take it.
Well, he was coming off of the off of the car or the train. He didn't have his gear yet. He's got instantly wet, like
I
attacked and it
would
ran.
have. In this kind of situation here, someone should have warned him pre-hand. He should have been geared up.
Yeah,
Someone was
you
trying
gotta
to
have your
get him
piece on.
killed. Someone was trying to get that dude killed. They were so mad when they saw that the lions didn't fucking get him. They were like, motherfucker.
But then they do the box trap where they put a goat inside the box thing. But they didn't do it exactly. They didn't have the like in the movie where they had the servants also in like a different part of the box, like locked in. They didn't do it like that. That that actually gives the like the servant dudes like more of an excuse. I think they're called coolies for the is the from the job I guess name for them. Um, but no, they literally just had it inside this like inside a cage thing, and the coolies had a bunch of rifles. Patterson was in the tree, but he was kind of a little bit didn't have the best range, and also just the chaos of the coolies just like firing in all different corners, up to the point where Patterson had to dodge bullets in the tree when they were freaking out about the lion in there.
Damn.
And he even said it still amazes me how all of them failed to kill that lion. And then the lion did bust out like that too, just broke out. All of them just
Oh
just
man.
going to a panic of gunshots. They
The
had no excuse.
frustration. The frustration that he must have had.
And I mean the some later too, I think oh yeah, it was when the like the final stand, I think, with wait, where did I put where he killed the first lion? One sec. Get my get my timeline mixed up here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's he had a face off with the first lion and one time, and there's actually that scene where his gun didn't shoot. That actually did happen.
Oh
His
shit.
gun. malfunctioned, and
Okay.
it didn't shoot, and he was just, but he didn't have anybody else with him to like shoot at the lion yet. He was staring at this lion, and then finally the people came and scared it off. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is the first one. The first one, he's back in the tree, going to the old type of tried and true strat of finding them. And one of them actually lunges for him in the tree. He like sees it last minute, like turns and fires, and actually hits it. Um, it goes off, but then they find the body later, and everyone's fucking partying except for Patterson. Patterson knows it's not done, which they find it, and it's what 9 feet long. Well, I guess that's head to tail, so it's pretty standard size of like a male lion. And then there after this is after killing that lion, there's about 10 days of peace, like no incidents whatsoever until I think, oh, I guess you can put that. Oh yeah, there's the lion starts trying again. They start seeing that it's stalking again. So there's a final
It
face
probably
off.
had to build up enough hunger to build up the courage to hunt alone because
Yeah.
it was probably
Uh,
used to hunting.
yeah. Lost the courage that it
Yeah,
had before with its buddy.
it was like, whoa, I gotta rethink my strategy now.
And there's the fi there's a final face off, um, where he's in the tree again, and the he gets he lucks out on just having the perfect type of like day where there's no clouds in the sky, the moon's at like its fullest and is just shining super bright, and so the lion doesn't have the cover that it thinks. He actually spots it like slowly stalking towards him, and he gets a shot off of it as it lunges for the tree. Then but then it runs off, and they chase it into the day, and they find it in a boma bush, you know, but it's still alive and super aggressive, and it actually charges Patterson, which he shoots it 4 times, but it's still charging at him. He reaches over for the gun that which he doesn't have the boy on this one, which is probably why he was in this situation to begin with. What we'll see. He reaches over to get the other rifle that his other guy is supposed to be holding for him, but notices no one's handing it to him. Turns around and notices all his crew is in the tree and it had abandoned him.
You motherfuckers! You sons of
Which so
bitches!
he starts bolting for the tree too. Which luckily he said that he would have been dead if he didn't get a leg shot on it, the day before.
Yeah, definitely.
He made it for the tree, climbs up the tree, finally gets the rifle from the guy, and makes a final headshot as it's climbing up the tree to kill him. And
Oh
then it's
man!
finally over.
Wow, what a fucking story. What a
Yeah.
so much better than the actual that.
What a great scene that would have been of like this blood covered lion like climbing up the tree scrambling just like with the last fucking energy of its life just to kill these people. Get
Oh
revenge.
man! But I think I think we covered this pretty much it.
Yeah, that's the lines of Savo in general of what really happened and what
Yeah,
this movie wasn't.
this movie was not, and I think it's about time we get into final thoughts. I
Oh
think it
yeah.
is. I mean, it doesn't matter who goes first, does it?
I mean it's Jeff Goldblum, right?
Yeah, I'm Jeff Goldblum as well.
Jeff Goldblum. What does Jeff Goldblum want?
I want my money back.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
And I want angels to give it to me. And pixies to count it out for me, and a gnome or a hobbit or an elf to sleep at the foot of my bed, and I just want them all over my backyard. But no matter what happens with any of that, I do want my money back.
It's very obvious this movie just shouldn't have been made. People, especially when they actually got to the filming, the first death, they should have just been like, oh, let's just pull the plug. Let's just get the fuck out of here. Val Kilmer, Michael Douglas, it's very clear that they do not want to be doing this.
They thought they did.
It's so inaccurate to the actual events, to the point where I was like, is this supposed to be the Savo incident, or is this like just taking place in the same region? Because I mean, they have mains. There's 3 lions. There instead of 2, and they have a den for some reason. And you didn't
the bone den.
Yeah, and like Michael Douglas says in the movie, lions don't have dens like that.
No.
So it's like they're doing it for the pleasure, as y'all will have saw. But that's not. It's just bad. It's just bad. Whoever, I don't know which one kept pushing for it to be made. I'm saying Michael Douglas because he added so much to that one character. I have a feeling that there was a sense of pride that he had to get out there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Music's forgettable. I mean, it's your standard. If your movie's set in Africa, it's like standard B-roll. So I guess it's feasible. The action's like very terrible. Sci-fi originals have made better. That's older than this have made better effects. Yeah. So it's just awful all around. They shouldn't have been made. I want my money back. Is there anything you can add?
I mean, I pretty much said with all the cool points that I shared with the things that happened in the real story that didn't happen in this, and there's nothing in this that stands out that makes me sit on the edge of my seat, that makes me feel that ancient primitive fear of predators. There's nothing to this. It's just awful. It's just bad. Yep. Bad movie.
Very bad movie. This is not art. This is not art whatsoever. This is definitely somebody that is smelling their own farts and cannot.
People died for this.
People died. People fucking died for this movie, man. That is... Oh, man. That is just awful. It's just fucking terrible. If you've been listening... we can get into the outro now, right?
Yeah.
If you've been listening to us this long, thank you so much. Please leave a like, comment what you think about this movie. You can't really think it... If you really think it's good, please tell us why we're wrong in the comment section. I really need that. I really need to know how we're wrong about this. Share the video around, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and turn on notifications. And this is the part where I go, hey, do you have a sign off?
Hey, if you think you like this movie, you're lying.
Oh.
Ayo.
And
there you go.
I'm gonna go with you know what? I got 2 sign offs now. I got 2 defaults. I'm gonna go with my main one, Hail Henry Zabrowski. And you know what? Cats die, music fade, but art is for keeps. And this is not art.
And people are for eats.
Bye-bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
The devil has come to Savo. Look at me.